Good afternoon and welcome back to another Be Connected session. This time we've got it back in the library. So we're back at the Cove Civic Centre. Marion branches have all opened up again for limited access, but we're tentatively opening our doors and welcoming people back. So we're very excited about that. Once again, I'm your host, Emily. I'll be going through today watching and listening online. So we're going to be covering things like how to watch streaming video, what streaming video is, the places where you can find it, as well as places to listen to podcasts online especially. So all these ways to gain access to all this extra awesome stuff on the internet. This is the fun stuff. This is what I love showing to people. So we're going to have a really good time with this today. So if you'll come with me, let's have a look at watching and listening online. I hit my button. There we go. There we go. So starting off, we're going to cover the Be Connected website as we always do. As we know, I bring the bulk of my presentation. I just take it right off of the Be Connected website. And anything I don't cover or I miss, you can find on the Be Connected website as well. We'll talk about it more in a second. We'll cover catch-up TV, so not just streaming movies and TV series from an online provider. You can also find catch-up TV with your regular TV service. So say you love SBS, I'm going to show you SBS on demand, for example, and that'll show you how to find shows that have been on TV but you've missed, but you can catch up again with it and watch it at another time whenever you're ready. We're going to look at online streaming services. So that's stuff like Netflix, Stan, Disney Plus, all these subscription services. And then we're going to jump into some free options as well, which I'm very excited to show you. And then we're going to jump into listening to podcasts. Podcasts are somewhat elusive in that you can find them on many different platforms. So I'm going to show you some of my favorites and where they are the best to find, I think at least. And it's a nice sort of, a lovely presentation as well. And then we're going to jump into questions at the end if we have any of those. It might be a quiet day, we don't know. So I'm busy down here. So, okay, beautiful. So let's talk about Be Connected. This is where I bring all my information from and put it in a presentation here. So we're going to be looking, well, it covers, today we're going to cover some topics, not a broad range, but Be Connected, the website, offers a broad range of topics. It's self-paced, meaning you can pick and choose which topics you want to cover and how much time you want to spend on each. It's easy to use. I offer it to just about everyone for its simplicity, and it even starts you off quite simply, so you can introduce someone else to how to use a computer, keyboard, touchpads and things like that, and then move on to more complicated things like watching and listening online. You can sign up to keep track of your training. So for those who would love to know what they've covered and kind of like have that nice little checklist going and see what they've figured out, and they can look back and go, oh, I remember when I learned how to do that, that was great. You can sign up and it keeps track of what you've learned. So it's a really nice system there. So we're going to have a look at the eSafety website, so Be Connected. Let me jump to my other screen. Here we go. This is Be Connected. You might notice if you've been watching several of my webinars that it's actually updated to have a new look, and you can see it cycling through different pictures and offering new things, including new games. What, it has games? It does indeed. It's a fun website. It's got just about everything. So let's jump into what we'll be looking at today. So if you click up the top in Topic Library, it'll take us through to what we offer in the day. So you can get started with the absolute basics and then moving on to things like how to use emails, how to send documents, what makes a password safe. A lot of these we've covered before, so if you'd like to have a look back at what we've done, you can find videos that we've recorded for this on our website. I'll show you that at the end as well, where you can find more. Today we're going to be jumping into, again, I forget where I leave it. Watching and listening online, so more online skills. So if I miss anything or if you'd like more information, jump on to more online skills. Now it looks like fabulous. I've had a lovely little confirmation from Edith. So thank you, Edith. That's wonderful. I'm glad you can hear everything on your end as well. Excellent. Lovely to have you here. Alrighty, so that's Be Connected. I'll leave that for now, and you're always welcome to jump back on in your own time, or you can come in and ask about it and I'll show you how to get to it via a computer that we can offer at the library. So let's jump back to our PowerPoint slide. Here we go. So that's Be Connected. Let's jump through. Excellent. So the question is, where can I watch or listen to these things online? What makes them different? So places to watch. I'm going to jump through those first, and then listen I'll look at after. So subscription platforms are things like, again, Netflix, Disney Plus. I've gone through them. We'll cover them again. And they're places where you're going to be paying money to access the content. So they're going to be offering a higher caliber level of video quality, exclusivity, and things like that. Free to view platforms. I love pushing the free stuff, and because it is so excellent and well fleshed out and a lot of people use it, it brings it up to another level. So even though subscription platforms are kind of the highest tier you can get because you are paying for what you get, the free to view platforms I'm going to offer show off are very comparable in their own way. So while you can pay a lot and get some brilliant stuff, there's also a lot of work you can find in free access platforms. And these places you can watch them. You can actually watch them all on your desktop, mobile, or smart TV. So just about anywhere you can get access to a browser view. So if you can look up on your phone, if you can Google on your phone or download apps, you can watch it there. Same thing on your desktop. Your desktop can do just about anything, as well as your laptop, for example. And I'm even going to jump into smart TVs and what they are, what they do, and give kind of a general overview of that. And then when we're going into listening, we're going to have a look at where you listen to those. So again, mobiles and tablets are generally the best place. They're free to access always, these podcasts. There are some extra programming bits that you can subscribe to and become maybe like a patron of. And that's where you'll pay either a monthly subscription or an annual subscription, and they'll give you extra content. That is for like the real fans of the show, Uber fans. So if you find that you do love listening to a certain program and want to give back, that's one way that they can offer that with extra content, extra listening time. So let's jump through and let's start looking at watching online. Got some lovely pictures. I love the one on the left. Yes, the left. So watching online, let's go through. That's all I have to say for that one. Subscription platforms. So we're going to start off with those that you pay for. So you subscribe for a service and can be billed monthly or annually. Many of these services offer free trials. So things like Disney will offer, I think it's a 7-day trial at the moment. Netflix will offer, I think it's a month. And places like Amazon Prime, Foxtel Now, same thing. They'll offer a month for free, where they do ask for you to sign up first, make an account, and add on a billing choice. That way, once the month or the week has run out, they will start billing you at that point. So it's up to you at that. You do have to remember, because they're not going to tell you, they're not going to say, by the way, your free subscription's going to run out tomorrow. Would you like to unsubscribe? They're not going to say that. They want your money. They want you to sign up. So if you're not careful, you might get billed if you were thinking I would like to have this for the week or the month, however long they offer. And then I'd like to try it and then get rid of it and sort of unsubscribe, which you can do. And that would save you from being billed. It's sort of notorious that you can do this over and over again. You just have to keep making different accounts. I don't even think they monitor which card or PayPal account you're using. So it could be like you use the same credit card each time, you just change accounts. I'd have to look into that, but that is sort of a loophole that you can get around. And places like Netflix, they'll sort of send through emails after the fact and say, okay, well, we're offering another free week if you'd like to come back for a little bit for free. So they really do try to get you in there and keep you as a consistent member of their subscription pool. So yeah, you can pay by card or PayPal. We've talked about paying online. So PayPal is what I recommend personally, and so does Be Connected. It's essentially, it works as a middleman between your bank or your bank account or your credit card and the seller. So if, for example, you want to sign up for Netflix, they do offer PayPal. I think they do. And with that, you'd be able to attach your PayPal account so it gets charged, and then PayPal pays on your behalf, and then they take the money from your account. So it's incredibly safe. If you were to get scammed in any way, not that these big ones would do that, they just don't have that rep, thankfully. If you were to get scammed, it'd be PayPal that would be sorting it out for you. They give your money back, you'd have reported it, which is a very easy system through PayPal. and then they'll chase it up for you, but having already paid you back. So you got a charge back where your money has gone back in your account, so you don't have to worry about it. PayPal is definitely of the opinion that a happy customer is a good customer, is the best type of customer. So a brilliant service from PayPal. You can, of course, use your credit card. Some banks offer fraud protection and all these extra things in place where you can get your money back if you were to get scammed. So just keep that in mind, which you prefer if you'd like to sign up for a subscription. So keep in mind that each of these channels, so these are all different channels. So we've got Apple TV, I'm going from top to right, Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, Stan, Prime Video, so that's Amazon Prime, and Foxtel Now. So Foxtel Now, you don't need to have the Foxtel set-top box set up. So Foxtel has a subscription where you buy their like antenna and everything, and they attach it to your actual building. But Foxtel Now is just done fully digitally through the internet, and it's sort of a light version of actual Foxtel. It's on the pricier side. A lot of people signed up for it while Game of Thrones was still running, and that was sort of the only way you could view it in Australia. So I imagine though they have some brilliant shows on there. They might have dropped off after Game of Thrones. I definitely unsubscribed from them when I was finished with Game of Thrones. The most commonly used is probably Netflix, I'd say. Netflix has a very low price point, so you don't have to worry about spending too much at once. And people generally pick Netflix if they want just one plan, if they only want one subscription service, because it offers so much. There is some contention between the American Netflix and the Australian Netflix. This just means there are different licensing laws between what they can show within Australia. Because a lot of programs are owned by other companies within Australia. Something like Stan will have some of the videos and films that American Netflix has on their programming. So Australia's stuff is broken up a bit more, and you do have to look around for what you'd really like. Prime Video, Amazon shows, also very good. They've got heaps of exclusives. Stan, also brilliant. Had a lot of Disney stuff, but now that Disney Plus is open, Disney has, I don't think they've taken everything back necessarily, but the licensing for Stan has run out on some of those Disney shows. So each offer different content. So you might want to look into searching up what shows are on each at the time and seeing what you might be interested in. Of course, you're always welcome to go around and try the free trial of each of them. Just please keep in mind to cancel them when you're done. Otherwise, you'll find a very big bill at the end of the month that you've been charged. So each offer exclusive content. So for example, Disney Plus has come out with brand new like Star Wars exclusive shows. Lots of Disney films that have come out recently have just been put onto Disney Plus. So that's a really big draw, especially for younger families who have lots of kids that love Disney. They have more mature content on there, but it's definitely not the focus. Something with mature content is going to be like Prime Video, Foxtel, Netflix, Stan. I've actually not used Apple TV before, so I can't really attest to how effective it is, but they do have a lot of exclusives as well. So it really is, what do you like to follow? What do you like to watch? And where is it sitting? And all of these offer high definition video. Something like Netflix will charge extra for super high definition. So really getting up there in screen quality, how clear the video is, how good it sounds. And they have a lower price point for just standard definition. So that's subscription platforms. I do recommend looking into which you'd prefer if you want to get one. The way you watch them is through, I'll look at smart TVs as well, but you can watch them on your desktop PC, on your laptop, on your phone. Each will have a limit to the amount of devices you can have your subscription active on. It just means that if you're paying for one Netflix account, they're sort of expecting that it's you and maybe one other person are using that account on 2 different devices. Otherwise, you can buy like a Netflix family package where it goes, I think it can go up to 4, 5, 8, I think even. I'd have to look into it. But if you've got a large household or you want to watch on several devices, that's what you can do and subscribe to. So keep that in mind as well. But all these, again, can be viewed on your laptop, phone, and then your smart TV as well. And we'll look into that in just a tick. Let's jump into free platforms. So free to view. We're going to look at, so streaming catch-up TV is one way you can view online. So something like 7plus and 9Now, which I've got at the bottom there, as well as SBS and iView, they can stream catch-up TV. So these are the shows that you might have missed at a certain time of day and you want to watch them again or watch them later on. For a limited time, I'm not sure how limited per each channel. but they do have a limited amount of time before they can take it off of their service. But I know I've seen several older films that I've watched many years ago on, say, SBS. I've seen them pop up again and again. So if you find that last week there was a great show that you missed, jump onto the channel website and see what you can find. All of these can be viewed on a desktop, so SBS iView 7+, 9 now. I haven't put everything else like 10 and other channels that you can get access to, but a quick Google will find them for you. But all of these can work as a mobile app as well. So you can watch it on your iPad or your phone. They all generally work best as desktop apps. I say that tentatively because some work a bit better as just the mobile app and it's a bit more simplified, but you'll definitely be able to see the broad range by scrolling through your desktop or a laptop version, but each can just be Googled anyway. With these, you can watch and stream series and films for free. They offer everything that they would have shown on TV and they give it to you for free. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful service. You do have to keep in mind that you do still have to sign up. They'll ask for most likely your email, password, username, all the regular stuff. And they may even ask to figure out what demographic you are. So what kind of person you are and what you're viewing. So what age you are and maybe even your suburb. So keep in mind that's the kind of information you'll have to give up if you'd like to view these things. They love to know who's watching what and what works and what shows are popular and things like that. So they're going to ask for that sort of general information. You'll generally have to watch ads, which is kind of a drawback for most people. I know when I'm watching regular TV on the actual TV, I'm going, oh, there are so many ads. Why do there have to be so many ads? I could just go off and watch Netflix or something else. So that's sort of the payoff. If you're going to be having a free service, they're going to offer ads to pay for that service. So yeah, there'll be ads while you're watching. SBS and ABC, less so. And the ads they show might be more for their own programs anyway. And they only offer standard definition. Some can come up with HD, but if you're looking to stream quite a few things, standard definition is good to sit at. So this just means lower quality audio and visual quality. So things will look a little bit blurrier, but if you're not like keeping a keen eye out for it, you won't notice as much anyway. And it does depend on the size of the screen you're viewing as well. All of these are brilliant. I want to jump into, so I'll quickly talk about YouTube. YouTube is a sort of almost a social video sharing platform. Of course, it's not just used that way. You can find brilliant DIY videos, documentaries, all kinds of things on YouTube. And I mean everything. It's a huge, huge platform, all free video. You can subscribe to a version of, I think it's called YouTube Red, I think. And it's a paid for version, and they have some exclusive TV shows that have been made by people who are prevalent on YouTube. Generally, if you're not keeping up with what your favorite channels are, they're not always going to have a paid for version. So really, it is just a free viewing platform. I personally go on YouTube almost every day and view like real playtime videos that I love and things like that. You can find just about anything. So if you've not been on YouTube in a while, jump on and start typing, look into comedians you like, recipes you want to try, all these things. You can find anything. I think that might be true. You can find just about anything. But here we are at the very top, Canopy. That's the last thing I want to talk about before we move on. So we'll see if I put my slides in order. There we go, good. Canopy. So Canopy is our library accessible streaming service, which means totally free videos and movies with a few caveats. First, you can have up to 8 films per month. So what is offered on Canopy, and I'll scroll through it in just a tick, are things like some pretty eclectic documentaries, popular films. They've got Oscar-winning films on there, as well as some other series and a few courses. Actually, you can follow through some courses and learn something new as well. Yeah, so it's brilliant. It's a huge array of things, definitely tilting toward the educational side, which isn't a bad thing, of course. You'll definitely learn something while you're on here, which is nice. It's not just gonna flow right through you and you'll forget it the next day. But of course, there are some rules to this. Because we have limited licensing laws with Canopy, we've paid for a subscription as a library service, and you can access it with your library card. we can only offer 8 films a month per person. That is, honestly, I think that's an okay amount. How often do you watch films? That's a question. There are several that are credit free, which means that when you watch one, it's not going to charge against the 8 credits that you have for your account for that month. So you do get 8, and with each of those 8, you have 3 days to watch the movie. So once you've clicked, yes, I'd like to watch this, you click unlock, and then it says you have 3 days to watch it. And you can watch it as many times as you like over those 3 days. At that point, it'll take it off your account again, and then you can keep browsing. You can watch several films at once, of course. You can click yes, 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 yes to all 8 of your movies on the first day. If you really want to, that's an option. And you can, watch them all. There are several, as I said, that are credit free, so you can watch them as many times as you like, and they won't charge against your credits. And your play credits, which is what they're called, play credits, they'll reset on the first of the month. So then you get another 8 for the next month. And you can watch this on any device. So you can get the Canopy app as well as watching it on your browser. So if I can get my screen to switch over again, I will show you how we find it. So one moment, thank you for waiting, guys. Okay, sharing. So if we jump to the Marion Library catalogue, here we are. We can scroll down. So here we offer all of our external, not catalogues, what do we call them? Learning resources. I guess we can call them that. It's a lot more than just resource, like learning resources is extra. Oh, there we are, be connected, yay. What we're looking at today is Canopy. An interesting one I could point out is Linda. It includes many videos that are academic in nature, and they are showing through, they're teaching you courses essentially. So you might want to be, if you're thinking about watching and listening online, you might even be in this sort of area of interest as well. So Linda's there as well, accessible with your library card. But Canopy, that's what we're going to be looking at. Sorry, if I click through, I'm going to click through on the tab I already have open. So here's Canopy. It's got a pretty nice layout to start off with. It shows off all the films, like this jumps right into what movies do we have? Have a look. So again, heaps of documentaries. They do several different categories with up-to-date sort of things. So Mother's Day had just been, so we've got a few films that Mum might love. For Teachers' Day, we've got Appreciate Our Teachers and teacher-related paraphernalia. It's films, documentaries. And then here we are, the great courses, which is like what I was talking about with learning content. So they'll go through a certain topic with you and describe it in an incredibly entertaining way. So it's a lot of fun. But, so I'll go back up the top. So you get 8 credits a week, a month, I should say, a month. And you can spend them watching just about anything. So if I were to hit browse, for example, let's do classic cinema. Let's have a look what's there. Ooh la la, we've got some black and white films, wonderful. So you might even find something that you've been looking for a long time and haven't been able to find anywhere. We've got the original Little Shop of Horrors here. Oh, it's only got 3 stars, that's rough. Well, actually might be earned. Yeah, as you can see, we've got several classics. Let's jump into something more contemporary and just sort of give you an idea of the range that they offer. So let's do romance. What will come up for that? Ooh. Yep, so we've got a mix again of our sort of older classical sort of films, and then we've got some new ones that I've seen recently. So something like Carol is a recent release. I believe that was an Oscar nominee. Brooklyn. All these wonderful films. So these are accessible with your library card for free. So if we were to say to watch Brooklyn, just click, gives you a little synopsis. So it comes up with this big lock symbol, which means that you haven't unlocked it yet. You just have to click connect. And through here, okay, well, I won't put my library card in just in case everyone wants to use my account, but you just re-enter your library card and your PIN. Your PIN, again, being your date of birth in 8 numbers. So day, month, year, no slashes in between, including the 19 of the year. All right, so that's Canopy, a great resource I recommend to just about anyone because it's free, so why not? I love something that's free. All right, let's jump back in. And if you have any questions about Canopy, if I've gone through it too quickly, please let me know and I'll explain extra, I'll go a bit more in depth with that discussion. So go into PowerPoint, here we go. So we're back in Canopy. Let's scroll through. Smart TVs, what are they? So you might have heard, okay, watch it on your smart TV or just watch it online on your TV. Like, what does that mean? So a smart TV is a TV that's connected to your home internet. And it can support apps like Netflix, ABC, iView, etc. So with this little example with a very colorful screen, you can see there's sort of a bottom tab that you can open. You can see this section here. This is sort of a little pop-up where it'll bring up all your applications, so all your apps, and it will show you what you've got that you can either download or start watching on. So this person's got Netflix already preset in the television. That's pretty common these days. So as you can see, my final point here is almost all new TVs are considered smart TVs because they access the internet in some way. TVs don't just get hooked up to your home connection. Forgot the name of the antenna, what you would call that. It has a very specific name, but it's not as simple as just plugging that in and getting all the channels. Now you can get access to internet related streaming content. So Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV, all these things I just mentioned, I've forgotten already. You can view it on here. You can even view things like YouTube, which don't have to be subscribed to. You can browse Facebook, Twitter, as they've listed here. Essentially, your computer becomes another internet, sorry, your TV becomes another internet browser, much like a computer is. So it connects to your home Wi-Fi network. So it isn't sort of free internet at that point. It does require a connection. And throughout watching, you may even see your TV pop up with internet disconnected, internet reconnected. Mine was doing that all yesterday because it sort of became peak time for internet viewing in my area. It was about 7 o'clock, which is kind of when everyone jumps online and starts looking at Facebook and checking up with things that have happened over the day. And my internet starts dropping in and out at that point, and the TV knew it as well. And you can set your television up. So if you're quite tech savvy, or if you've got someone in your family who's quite tech savvy and is happy to show, you can get it set up with things like Alexa, Google Home, and even smart lights that you might have set up. These are ways just to connect to these gadgets and start using them. So something like Alexa or Google Home, they use voice controls. So if you set it up properly, you could even say, Alexa, turn off the TV, Alexa, turn on the TV, change channel, start recording, things like that. So if you've got access issues and don't like using a remote, for example, you can even just shout at your TV and get it to do what you want to do. So if you're interested in something like that, have a look online, see what they offer. These TVs aren't exactly cheap, but of course, that's sort of the range of what TVs offer now. Some offer a limited capacity of this amount of extra technology, but they're all going to be having that access to internet option. Your TV will run things like new software. So software will be updated automatically. Your TV will just do that. And what that means is that it's just ways that your TV, I keep saying computer because it is so like a computer at this point, the way it can access certain apps, web pages, and how it functions on a software level. So meaning that it just downloads new information from the original company that made it, and then they just keep it up to date with what makes it faster, better, and fight against things like viruses that might happen. Yes, your TV can get viruses. This is the thing. So if you're worried about traveling too deep, don't worry. Just jumping on things like Netflix and YouTube and Facebook, that's not going to mess up your TV. If jumping onto your browser, so looking on, say, Google Chrome or starting a Google search, that's when you can kind of start getting deeper and deeper into that. It's quite hard to get your TV sick. So hard to attach a virus to a TV. And unless you've added things like, your Google Home set up with it, there's really no point to it. You might be able to access someone else's Netflix, but the security risk is pretty low with TVs at least. Of course, our whole homes are starting to be connected, so that's something to think about. I wonder if someone remotely could turn off the lights, for example. So if you're not comfortable with that level of technology, you don't need to push yourself. And the TV will just have that in the background. It won't activate anything if you don't press it yourself and actually go looking for it. It's very hard to mess these up. These TVs are pretty preset in what they do. You can't really customize it very much. There's nothing that you could do that would actually ruin the TV. It'd be okay. So don't stress too much about smart TVs. If you get one, you can just use it like a regular TV. You can just use it to surf channels, record videos, or record TV shows and watch them back. And that can be the limit of what you use your TV for. That's totally fine. Excellent. Let's continue through. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat as well. Aha, listening to podcasts. This is where we get a bit more fun, fancy. I drop in a few recommendations for those out there who are keen on signing up to a new service, a safe service, who would like to be subscribers of podcasts. So, what are podcasts? I don't know if I even talk about what are podcasts. I just sort of jump right into it, don't I? Let's have a look. Okay, so this talks about where you can listen to podcasts, but let's have a look at what they are to begin with. So podcasts are just the straight audio format. So they can be radio shows that have been recorded and edited enough that they sound quite clean on the entrance and exit. They'll sometimes add entrance music, introductions. They'll sometimes put ads in between, so audio ads that you hear on the radio. But they can also be highly produced shows, totally audio, no video required. I love listening to podcasts while doing housework or going for walks and things like that. So doing something where my mind can kind of be idle and listening to the podcast, but not so bored that I'm, pacing the floor back and forth. I'm actually doing something while I'm listening. So yeah, I just plug in a set of headphones right into my phone. You can also listen on desktops as well. So I'll show you how to listen to one of our podcasts. This one here. This is literary anything, which I'll talk about in a bit. I'll show you where you can listen to it online if you don't have any kind of phone set up where you can access Apple Store or Google Play Store. So where can I listen to podcasts? Here are a few of my favorite apps that I've given a go and do rate as quite good. So ABC Listen app, dedicated just to the ABC radio shows and published shows on ABC radio. There are quite a few. I think it's getting up to close to 100, I think. If you were to download the ABC Listen app or to type it into your browser, you can have a look at the plethora of shows that they've got on offer. And there's a huge variety, and they're all quite, they're very well produced. They sound great to listen to. No one's, blowing too hard into the microphone, and there's no like dogs barking or anything like that. It's high quality stuff. They've got all the great equipment, and they're putting out a lot of content currently to do with COVID-19. So if you'd like to keep up to date, that's a place you can look. If you need to hide from something like COVID-19, if it's just too overwhelming, they've got several different podcasts out at the moment that can help you with that, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all different places you can listen. If you're not sure where to start, consider what device you have. Say if you were I have an Android device, so not an iPhone. I have a Oppo. So if you had like a Samsung, Lenovo, Vodafone, any other phone that's not an iPhone, you can access things like Stitcher, ABC Listen, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Apple Podcasts is the only one that only sits on a iPhone. So you can't get Apple Podcasts on your Android device. It has to be an Apple device. It's a pretty good set. Most podcasts are going to be putting their stuff up on Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts sort of was the major springboard for podcast popularity and where to publish things. Of course, there have always been independent radio stations and websites that promote these things, but Apple Podcasts really solidified its place in the early 2000s. Probably not that early. I can't give you a date, unfortunately. Apple Podcasts, a very popular platform. These really are just platforms. They're just places to showcase other podcasts. There's not like an Apple podcast. I don't think they would be, but they are a place to show off other podcasts. I've said that word so many times now. Hope I don't overwhelm you. So the places I would recommend are all here. If you have an iPhone, just jump on your Apple Podcast app. I don't think they come pre-installed anymore. I think you have to just jump on the App Store and just look up Apple Podcasts, hit download or install, and then open it up from there. I personally use Spotify. It's hard to recommend Spotify just because it is a subscription service. I've used Spotify for several years now. It's essentially it functions as a music streaming website. So you listen to it on your phone, it gets you not free music, but you don't have to pay for each album. You pay a flat fee. I actually pay $17. I pay for my whole household. So I pay for 4 people who all listen, and that's sort of my, I give that to them. That's, we just share. So you can get it for about, I think it's about $6 per month, or I pay every 3 months, which is why, sorry, I hit my microphone there. I pay every 3 months, which is why it seems a bit more pricey at $17. But for me, I use it almost every day. I use it every day, actually. Listen to music or podcasts every day. So I know that actually seems like quite a lot saying that out loud. So it really pays off for me. So it's hard to recommend unless you are happy to pay an amount like $6 or so. But you can listen to Spotify for free. They just put ads in between every 3 or 4 songs you listen to. So your actual podcast may not have a Spotify ad, but if you run it all the way to the end of the recording, it might start playing an ad after that. I love Spotify so much, and I got so sick of those ads, I decided to pay for it instead, and now I don't get those ads. But all these other apps are also free, and there's no subscription element, so you don't have to pay a version to get the best version out there. So yeah, all these ones are great. ABC listening, just as ABC shows, I'll let you know. It's a dedicated hub for ABC radio shows, and the rest offer everything else. You can just jump right onto your Apple Store or Google Play Store and type in podcast app, and you'll find several versions. Some don't have little ads popping up in them, some do. It's really up to you which you prefer. Please download as many as you think look good and start playing with them and see which is functionally the best for you. They all offer sort of different things, but but all podcasts will promote all of their podcasts. This is hard to say. They'll promote all of their shows on all these networks. So one show like Literary Anything will be on everyone except for the ABC Listen app. So it'll be on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as several others. ABC Listen is, again, just doing that ABC shows, so it's all in one place. Okay, I think I've said podcasts 100 times now, but let's keep going. Let's have a look at how to listen. Here we go. So this is the way to do it. So download an app of your choice. And again, this can be done on your phone, or you can look up the podcast itself online. So what I've done, I'll show you in a second. I've done this with Literary Anything. You can view it on a browser setup. So you don't have to listen on your actual iPhone or your Android phone. You can listen online as well. Say if you're doing some emails or things like that and sitting at a desk, or at your laptop or your iPad, I suppose, as well. You can listen to it that way. So the way to do it, how to find a podcast. Download an app of your choice. So something, as we've said before, something like Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and then just search the podcast you're looking for. Or it'll come up with several lists of, say, editors' picks, or popular, or shows that people have been listening to who also like this. So there's lots of recommendations on there, but you can also just type in the one you're looking for, of course, or a genre that you'd like to listen within. And at that point, you can just hit play and start listening. Again, several might include ads, depending on if they have a sponsorship or not, or if they're paid by a network to put their show up. So do keep in mind that there might be an ad. They're not too intrusive, I find. They sometimes will shape around the show, and they'll pick what they think their audience might like. So they're really not so jarring. Definitely not like TV ads, at least. That's a totally different kettle of fish. So at that point, you can hit play. But the awesome thing about podcasts are you can download them right onto your device using your Wi-Fi connection at home, and then go off and listen to them elsewhere without having to connect to the internet. So say if you were going on a big road trip, or you're on a flight, well, not that we'll be doing that anytime soon, but in the future, if you're traveling, or if you're out walking and don't want to use your mobile data, you can download a podcast to your phone on the actual app. So it wouldn't save anywhere strange on your phone. It would just sit inside the app and usually have a little download arrow filled in, like colored in, or it'll say downloaded, or it'll have a tick next to it. Each app does its own thing, but it'll indicate that it has been downloaded and it's good to go, and you can listen to it offline. That's one of my favorite features. I do that a lot with podcasts. I download them on my Wi-Fi. That way it saves my mobile data when I'm out walking and don't have a connection other than mobile. I'll just turn my mobile data off and just hit play, and they'll already be saved. It's a brilliant system. So that's how to listen on your phone especially, but let's have a look at where you can find podcasts online. So let me change my screen one more time. I know I do this all the time. Let's jump back in. So this is the homepage for Literary Anything on SoundCloud. There are several different pages, podcasts that can be accessed online. So let me have a look. So you can view, for example, SoundCloud has a lovely setup, especially for viewing on a desktop computer or any kind of browser. So from here you can scroll through and have a look at all the backtracked episodes. They're generally listed chronologically with the latest episode at the top. So here we had Maggie Going Nowhere, which was a pretty good episode actually. You should go back and listen to these. This is great. I should be promoting this a lot harder. This is Paula and Jane's podcast. This is what we listen to at work. This is what they work toward and have created. Each week they talk about a upcoming book or a popular book that has been released, and then they give their thoughts about it. And they're always very in-depth. They have the cultural background of where the book came from, as well as the reception to the book that the general public has had, as well as the publishing industry. And there's a few pretty brilliant insights that you just don't get with regular reviews. And Jade and Paula have kind of got their finger on the pulse of what's coming up, what's good. So I super recommend Literary Anything. I forgot to introduce them as this wonderful thing because they are. It's brilliant, but I'm just showing you at the moment. I can jump back into Literary Anything later when we do some podcast recommendations. I'm going to show you how you listen on a desktop. So here I've just typed into Google Literary Anything, and I'll show you how I do that with a new browser. So let's jump into Google, Literary Anything. You can see I've written anything podcast. If you can just do, I'll take off podcast now. Let's just take off, here we go. So popping podcast at the end of your search is going to make it a lot easier. So if you know the name of your podcast that you're looking for, typing it into Google, you will end up finding it quite quickly. So first we have a news article on our Marion essay page, same thing coming up. And then we've even got a listing on Apple Podcasts. And then Stitcher, Listen Notes, Player FM, Pod News, all these podcast related websites that offer a whole array of podcasts. Because quite frankly, all these websites really want viewers to come on. So they're going to offer just about every podcast they can find. So of course, Paula has put it out into the airways, and all these podcast networks have picked it up for a presentation, which is wonderful. It's great. So just typing in your podcast and then adding podcasts on the end, it's going to really limit that search and make it far easier to find. So say if we were to look at Apple Podcasts, let's see how polished this looks. Oh, it looks so good. Yes. So you've got not the main logo, but our City of Marion Libraries logo, as well as all the back episodes, and I've kept them all up to date. I believe I can listen right now. I don't know if you can hear what I'll hear. All right, that was music for me. But yeah, you can play right from your browser. Generally, any website will let you play right away. It doesn't really matter where you listen. We don't have a preference. We're just happy you're listening, of course. So the one I like using is SoundCloud. So if you look up SoundCloud, you can find podcasts through there, as well as just general music. It's free to use. It's for me, it's very easy to use, and I love recommending it. So that's what I'm doing here. And you can go through and play, and it gives you a little tracking as you go, so you know how far into the episode you are. And you can always come back and jump into the same spot again, of course. If you were to create an account and log in, it would keep track, and you could subscribe to the podcast, and that way the podcast will kind of get a little tick and go, oh, you've got a new subscriber, that's excellent, you've reached another person. But you don't have to subscribe, you can just listen, of course. So that's what we've done here. Each will come with a little preview image. Some just come with their main header, so their own little logo, and they'll pop one on for the same episode each time. But here, Paula and Jane have updated it with each book they're reviewing for that day. So it looks beautiful, and you can see they've got their 2 copies because of course they both get a copy to read. Excellent. That's Literary Anything. That's how you listen to it on a desktop. So podcasts aren't just limited to your phone or listening device that you can carry around. You can do it while typing up an email, doing some, not necessarily mentally stimulating work, and it can keep your mind busy while you're working online. All right, let's jump back in. Ooh, oh, we're doing recommendations already. Wow, that's it, I guess. Recommendations. So this I put out into the airwaves. I've asked all of my colleagues at work, I've asked, what kind of podcast do you think the people watching these Be Connected sessions, what do you think they might like? What do you guys like listening to? And I really picked a little bit of everything, I think. There was a huge array of choices, of course. But what I'd like to recommend are these 8 to start with, and then one very special one at the end. I think you'll know which one it is. It'll be that one. Okay, so ABC Conversations. Again, all of these with the little ABC symbol in the corner. So we've got Conversations, Mindfully, and Ladies We Need to Talk. These can all be accessed on the ABC Listen app. Almost forgot the name of it. As well as you can listen to them online, but they do promote jumping onto their Listen app because it is a very, it's a lovely format. It's a lovely way to browse, and I really like having them all in one place. So Conversations, jumping on with experts and everyone from every walk of life and having a chat. It's brilliant. You might have heard it on the radio. A lot of these, they'll pop on the actual radio and then have them saved with a bit more editing. Actually, I think they post the final edited product and they air it on the radio over the airwaves, and then they'll save it in their little podcast. So what they've got here is Conversations. So brilliant chats with brilliant people, essentially. Mindfully, how I describe this one, it's promoting mindfulness and creating sort of a safe space to listen. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is what I was going to recommend, by the outside world at this time, please jump onto Mindfully. Again, they teach you sort of, this is kind of a broad thing to say, they teach you how to be happy. It's a very sort of soothing podcast to listen to if you're feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, they teach mindfulness. I think it's called Brain Smile. That's not what it's called. It's like an inner smile thing. And meditation techniques and things like that. It's very calm, very chill. Contrastingly, or should I say juxtapositionally, that's not the term. On the other side of it, we have My Favorite Murder. If you're someone who loves listening to murder podcasts, meaning people talking about the most horrendous things people have done in the world and sort of the story around it and how sort of, not impressive it is, but just sort of how out there and crazy it is to hear. These two, Karen and Georgia, do the best sort of setup and lay down of all these like pretty awful things, but kind of they weave it in a brilliant way where you don't necessarily feel like everything's bad at the end. So if you're someone who's got more of a dark side, loves watching things like NCIS, all these other like, what are they called? Are they just called Norwegian like police procedurals almost? Like detective mysteries. You'll like My Favorite Murder. Give it a go. See if it's your thing. It might be a bit much, but it's definitely entertaining for sure. Chat 10 Looks 3. So Lee Sales, Annabelle Crowd, people you'll likely know. They've got their own chat show essentially where they talk about movies, books, things they love at the time, and really just go for it. It's a wonderful chat show. Sort of like just having two friends over and listening. It's nice. Interview with Andrew Denton. So they've converted the TV show that you can watch on TV, and they've popped it in podcast form. So all of these are recommendations from people at work. So I've got a bit of everything, I think. So that's a brilliant show. I know a lot of people love watching, so now you can listen as well. So if you don't have the time to sit and watch, you can walk around and garden or do something else while you listen. The Partially Examined Life. This is a philosophy podcast by talking with scholars and ex-grad students, and it really just goes in depth. It was described as a way to, it was originated, I think it was 2008. It's a very long time ago now. It started, and it sort of originated as a way to talk about philosophy with a tutor or a lecturer to chat with their other friends about philosophy and all these sort of big questions without having their snotty kids, their students, like college students, their university students jumping in with random questions. They just wanted a way to sort of talk about a topic and continue through without being interrupted. So that's how it started. It's grown from that, has a huge following, and it's a good time if you like philosophy. Give it a go. Ladies We Need to Talk, probably my favorite on here, I'd say. a very candid look at women's issues. A great one to watch is, what is it called? I'll have to look into it again. It's to do with the unseen workload of women. If you've ever felt that you've done your time doing everyone's laundry and cooking everyone's dinner and have never been, never felt appreciated for it, this show is for you. Incredibly informative. You find everyone from all walks of life getting interviewed on this show. It's pretty upbeat, and it just keeps pace really well. It's very entertaining. I recommend it. Akimbo with Seth Godin, I should say. It's a great sort of short form podcast focusing on a very specific subject. The last one I listened to was just about libraries, which was a perfect topic. I go, oh, that works really well. So check out Akimbo if you're interested in libraries, anyone out there. But brings in a lot of, factual history, bringing in the context of all that he's about to talk about, and then jumping into a contemporary setting. He's got kind of a dry humor to him, so he's a lot of fun to listen to. And he's definitely got on each topic, he's got his own opinion. So it's fun to see where you sit and if you agree with him. Again, they only run for about 30 minutes, so you can get through quite a few if you were to sit and listen to a few at once. And you really do expand your horizons with what they talk about. So those are some 8 recommendations to start with. Those have been sent in by our co-workers. Thank you very much, everyone. But the one I'd like to talk about the most, which I've already kind of covered, literary anything. Yes, you get your own feature, literary anything, of course. You can see my little box is out of whack in the bottom corner. That's okay. It only bothers me. So, literary anything. It's our book review podcast, our book talk show, hosted by Jane and Paula. It's wonderfully done. I love listening to it. And they keep up to date with what is latest and greatest in book publishing and the industry and what's going on. They give a great, again, they bring in the context of what is happening in the world at the time, and they really bring it in with what the title means in this time and place and why it's important or why it isn't important. They're not always going to review things they like. They pick the book and then they review them. So you never know what you're going to get necessarily. And it's great to see 2 different opinions bouncing off of each other and seeing where they eventually meet in the middle, or if they don't meet at all. So if you like that sort of thing, a bit brief discussion and a lot of fun, literary anything is for you. And I love it myself. I love listening. So I'm keen for the next episode. Paul has teased me with a few tidbits, so I'm excited to hear what they end up thinking of the final novel when they've reviewed it for us. Okay, so those are my recommendations. I think we're going to move into questions now. So, yep, that's the little picture for questions. If anyone has any questions, anything at all, it can be as vague as you like or just a comment, pop them in now and I'll wait for them briefly. I'm just going to pause for one moment. Excellent. Okay, so I'd like to thank everyone for attending today. It's been lovely. I've had a lovely chat with everyone once again. Oh, I always forget this part. How to stay connected with us. As I've mentioned, we are open again. We've had people coming in so excited to see us, and we've been excited to see them and have a chat. It's been a lovely time having everything open again. Of course, we're limited in how many people we can fit right now. Currently, it's 10 people. That'll eventually move up to 20 eventually. Again, we don't know when that day is set, but we're looking forward to having more people in the library. But we're definitely getting a steady flow. So we're definitely getting people who've missed us and would love to grab a few new books, new DVDs, and have done so. So that's great. So to stay connected, keep up to date with what we're doing, any major changes we might be doing, like letting more people in, for example, follow us on our Facebook page, which is at City of Marion Libraries, and the same place on Instagram if that's your preferred platform as well. We'll keep you up to date. You can check out the What's On page on our Marion website, which is also where we keep our What's On for Be Connected as well. So if you like to see what we've got coming up next, we've got that as well. Our next program, so our next webinar that I've got set up is all about apps. So we're going to be looking at what are some recommended apps that I always use and find extremely helpful, what apps even are, and why I use them. So we'll jump into that and some important ones that I think you should have on your phone or iPad or tablet device. So that's next week. You can also subscribe to our Library Loop messenger. It's called a newsletter. Library Loop newsletter. That can be found on our, I'll show you actually, since it's easy enough to do here. That can be found on our Marion Library catalogue. Pardon my dragging and clicking noises. Here we go. Let me jump over there now. Here we go. This is us. So at Marion Library's catalogue, if you scroll down the side, you can jump onto our online newsletter. So here it should ask for your details, so where to send you mail, there we go. And that's all you have to do. And once a month, we'll send out a Library Loop newsletter, and we'll let you know what we've got going on, what you can sign up for, and oftentimes you can sign up right in the email itself, so you don't really have to go anywhere. It's quite a nice place to find everything. Jump back. And then of course you can call us. So 8375-6755, call us and have a chat. If you can't come in person, which is still totally fine, just give us a call and we can keep you up to date. So that way you can find out what's going on, what you could be finding more about, or putting a book on hold or something like that. So please give us a call if you feel like you really want to. And of course, we love hearing from you and we love getting calls. So thank you, everyone. Another session done and dusted. I'll say goodbye to all my lovely listeners online and watchers. Listening and watching, that's what we've been doing today. So thank you all for coming again. It's been a wonderful session and I hope to see you in the next one. I have to sign off now. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.